Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my beautiful women of Qur'an. Now, welcome to another video, and we are still doing the Ramadan prep video series. I wanted in this video to remind all of us about the importance of adhkar, of dhikr. This is something that really aided me during my recent trip to Umrah. So this is part 2 of that video. Okay, so the intro was from the first part, pushing you to go to the first part and see how amazing dhikr was for me during my umrah. In this video, in this part 2, we are going to look at how to implement more dhikr into our life, how to incorporate, she's a better word, how to incorporate more remembrance of Allah into our life. So I'm going to give you a bit of some activities to do. Inshallah, it's going to be a bit more interactive. And the first activity that I'm going to ask you to do is to observe and think about the times where you felt like your remembrance of Allah was low, was barely existing. Like, was there any moment in your life where you didn't really remember Allah so much, or there was so much more remembrance of other things and very little time and energy given to the remembrance of Allah, to thinking about Allah, to thinking about your deen, to thinking about akhirah? Do you remember a moment in your life like this? So pause the video, think about it, think about it, think about it. And then after that, what I would like for you to do is to write it down, right? Those are the times that my remembrance of Allah was very minimal, almost non-existent. Almost non-existent. And what I want you to do is learn from those moments, basically. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give myself as an example. So when I did this activity, I realized that whenever I was talking with people about dunya, a lot of dunya, like for instance, fashion, designer bags, or this new thing that came up, or this new gadget, or this new phone, or this new update in with the digitals, and this new tool that can help you do this and that. And then when I'm engrossed in conversations about the dunya that I'm interested in, I don't remember my akhirah so much. I don't remember Allah so much. I'm just really into that conversation. So if I talk a lot about non-Muslims, especially when it's about them doing something that I'm maybe admiring, or maybe something that I like, right? Or my nafs likes more, I should say. Then again, I may be distracted away from remembering Allah. If I spend time on entertainment, whenever I spend time on movies or celebrity news and things like that took me away. So when you reflect on your life and so these were the moments where my remembrance of Allah was very minimal. It could be also when you listen to music. I believe that music is haram. To me, that is the safest approach to have, because we know how damaging music can be. And if music was so good to people, then the musicians will be the happiest, right? And they're not. So our deen is there to protect us. Our desires wants for us to look for loopholes and, it doesn't really, this and that, but it's actually, we're not helping ourselves when we do that. So again, I believe that, the major scholars of the past, the hadith, the tafsir of the particular ayah, if they're saying that, and I also notice how when I cut music out of my life, how I was able to be a bit more focused, a bit less distracted. It was easier for me to have a bit more khushu' in my salah. It was easier for me to get closer to Allah. Then from experience and from the scholars, I believe that music is detrimental to me getting closer to Allah. So take that time, be real with yourself, and ask yourself, when were the times that you felt like your remembrance of Allah was low? what I'm doing with you is really something that I would do in a membership club. These are the types of challenges that I have in the membership clubs, and we do them over a month, right? And they have like step 1, step 2. This week we're focusing on that. Week 2 we're focusing on that. So if you want to join us in the membership club, I'll put the link below, because we are doing Dhikr right now in the membership club. So the next point that I want you to do is to observe your day. So observe your day and look at your habits. What are the habits or the triggers that pushes you to spend time on those things where you are not remembering Allah? So let's say if environment triggers, like for instance, you know that when this particular sister calls me, the conversation is devoid of remembrance. It's like talking about people or things of dunya that have absolutely like not only is we spend so much time on the phone, and we're absolutely not remembering Allah. I go to this gathering with other people. We talk about politics and the country and this and that, people and this and that. But there's nowhere where people are remembering Allah, where the name of Allah is being mentioned. So you take these one by one, and then you're like, okay, this is my day, and this is how I'm going to live my day, so that I make sure that these things are not part of my day. At least I'm going to do my best to minimize it to the max. So that's the first thing that we do, is that we take out what takes us away from the remembrance. Then we will think about adding what can help us remember Allah more. So now that we've done the taken away, let's look at adding. So what are we going to add to our daily to make sure that we remember Allah more? So first is, get yourself the Fortress of the Muslim. They have it in an app. They have it in a booklet. I have a booklet, and I really like having the paper version, but you could also get the app. You could even find them on YouTube, but get yourself the du'as from the Fortress of the Muslim, because there is du'a for every single action almost that you will be doing. And a way that you can actually incorporate more adhkar in your life, more dhikr in your life, is to have that nearby, so that whatever you do, you would be saying it. So when you wake up, if you didn't memorize the dua, have that access to that, dua right away, so that when you wake up, you read the dua. Before you go to the bathroom, if you do not know this dua, have it, outside the bathroom, maybe on the, put a post-it on the door of the bathroom, so that before you enter the bathroom, you read the dua. When you come out of the bathroom, know what you're saying. When you are, putting on your clothes, read the dua of putting on clothes. Subhanallah. So many great rewards with the dhikr. So many great rewards that, we're passing by that are not costing us much, right? And even if you didn't memorize them, you could have access to the dua book. Let me tell you the reward that you get for when you put on clothes. And how many times do we put on clothes, sisters? Subhanallah. Alhamdulillahi alladhi kasani hadha wa razaqanihi min ghayri hawli minni wa la quwwa. All praises for Allah, who has clothed me and provided it to me without any power or might from me. If you say this dua, all your sins, past and future, will be forgiven. SubhanAllah, his past and future sins will be forgiven. This is such a huge reward, sisters, for just putting on clothes. SubhanAllah, this is something that we can immediately put in practice. And if you memorize it, it will be easier for you. So once you memorize it, then every time you put on, okay, I'm a bit cold, I'm going to put on my sweater. Alhamdulillah alladhi kasani hadha wa razaqanihi min ghayri hawli minni wa la quwwa. Oops, I'm about to wear another scarf. Just anything that how many times you change in a day. So this is an amazing way for us to have our sins forgiven, and for us to remember Allah, and to be grateful for everything. Like, I'm really grateful for the sweater I have on my chair here. It's really cozy, it's warm, and because, as you could see outside, we've been experiencing snow where I live. So it's cold, and having sweaters, having the right clothes, it is a mercy, and it helps me to remain grateful when I see cold temperatures like that. I was born in Africa. I didn't, this cold and me, we just don't get along so well. So I make dua to Allah, and I also thank Allah for having heat, electricity, and warm clothes. So this is something that you can immediately put in practice, bi'idhnillah. Next is do some tadabbur, sisters. Connect with the remembrance, with the speech of Allah. This is the biggest dhikr. I mentioned in the previous video. And so you want to engage, take a tadabbur class, a hifz class. I highly recommend that you take a tadabbur class. Hifz class, you can easily find them. Tadabbur is not, now people are doing more and more tadabbur, but it's not spread out and it's not spread enough, in my opinion. So look for a tadabbur class, a class where you get to understand the ayat of Allah and you get to reflect, especially with the recitation that you usually pray with. If it's a surah that you pray with, do it with Surah Al-Fatiha, so that when you pray, you are in reflection mode about the message of Allah to you. And outside of your salah, you would see that it would continue with everything else that you do. Because when you reflect on the message of Allah, then when you go outside of the salah, you're still reflecting. You see something and it brings you back to the reflection. But if you do not know what the surah is saying and you're praying without meaning, without reflecting, go beyond just the meaning, but also the reflection, like meaning you sat with it a little bit, you ponder, you internalize it, and you try to implement some of those things. This will help you in your natural day-to-day to be in a state of remembrance, bi'idhnillah. I'll put the link to the previous part, the first part. In the first part, we talked about how you could stay connected even during your menses, like you're not praying, for instance. And so you would use the salah time for du'as and dhikr. You would increase in tadabbur and revision of hifz. You attend lectures or watch lectures. You review the seerah, visit historical sites, go out in nature and reflect on how perfectly Allah creates. Ask yourself, is this pleasing to my Rabb? And study your deen. Those are 7 ways where if you're not able to do salah, you're still able to stay connected. So use this 7, even when you're praying, use this 7 and add what we said today, which is, especially like the azkar of what you do, like from the fortress of the Muslim. Start with the one about the clothes, because there's so many rewards. Previous and future sins forgiven, subhanallah, just by you wearing clothes. And then look at others in that fortress of the Muslim, to constantly be in dhikr mode. And like I said, really do some tadabbur so that in and outside of your salah, you are still connected with your Lord. I pray these were practical steps for you to actually increase in dhikr and also prepare for Ramadan. May Allah accept from us. May Allah grant us Ramadan. Is approaching fast. May Allah make us among those who will witness this month of Ramadan in the best health and in the best state of Iman. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, sisters.